I decided I'd do a walkthrough of my current blockout to give you a better idea of what it's supposed to represent, and maybe you can give me some advice or some feedback if you have time. So I would suggest, if you don't mind opening my game design document, it might have some of the maps and diagrams and storyboards might give you a better idea of what the level is supposed to be. So the player starts basically in this parking lot of a state park here. These will be kind of impassable barriers. And the first puzzle will basically be how to exit the parking lot in a number of different ways. And this is supposed to be a bike, and then you have there's a tour bus, a car, and then here's a ticket booth. And then this is a vehicle entrance, like an electronic gate, and this is supposed to be a turnstile. So there'll be a couple of different solutions. Here are supposed to be some cans that the player can pick up and then throw to hit this button in the ticket booth that would then open the gate. They can also find a park pass on the dash of this car, which they can bring over, scan in this scanner, and the gate will open. They can pile objects and jump on top of the tour bus and jump over the fence here. There's going to be a break in the fence that they can smash open and crawl through. And the turnstile will be locked, so they might be able to unlock or break the lock to enter that way. So exiting here, there'll be a road that leads down to the entrance of the forest over by the fallen tree and the restrooms. And then there's also a pedestrian entrance here. I think there's going to be some paths here that are going to curve around and basically lead to the same spot. And then there's going to be here's a pavilion, sort of a rest area in the middle of a grassy clearing. And then the main entrance here, which hopefully kind of grabs attention. And there might be a couple of extra entrances. So the pavilion is going to have a sign that describes that this big tree in the distance has historical and local relevance and sort of local superstition. So that'll have to do with a puzzle. Entering through this main entrance, the player's kind of immersed in the forest. They can't really make out the big tree anymore, but they're led forward until they get to the fork in the road down here, where there should normally be a sign that points left towards the burnt out clearing with the tree, or right towards something that'll come later. But a car has come through and smashed the sign and thrown these trees in opposite directions, kind of pointing left and right, bigger tree being the more important direction. And then if you follow the car down here, you can see it hit into a tree. And this will also have to do with a puzzle. So at this point, the main goal with this big landmark is this will be a big old growth tree, and there's going to be a passage through the tree, which you can kind of see some reference pictures in my design document. And that passage is blocked by these vines and roots. So the player has to figure out how to get through those roots and enter the tree into the next level. They can do this by referencing that sign in the pavilion that says if they leave a sacrifice or an offering to the tree, then it'll open. Or they can get a lighter and gasoline from that car and burn the entrance open, which kind of will have an impact on the rest of the game experience. And then one final detail here is that there's a secret campsite through the trees and through the woods that'll have some extra puzzle solutions. So you can see I have a main geometry piece, a main landscape, and then this lower quality, smoother landscape that'll basically have lower polygon trees and further away textures to kind of contain the level to stop players from getting out. I'm already considering maybe scaling the level down a little bit, or at least adding some more things to occupy the player's interest here at the entrance. I don't mind if you get harsh with feedback. If you have the time, of course, I would really appreciate it. And I hope you're having a good day. Thank you.